What's up, guys? Welcome to the No Tomatoes podcast. This is my co-host, Titus.
Hello.
My dog is running around. That's okay. So the first thing I want to address before we start the episode, we've got a special guest with us today, Mac. She's pretty cool. She's going to talk about SeaWorld and stuff. The other thing I want to talk about is kind of our goal for this podcast. Like, why are you guys even doing a podcast? First of all, we love talking with each other. So that's one reason. But another reason was because we want to give people a platform to talk about what they're passionate about, and just allow them to speak about their lives and give you guys uplifting material. So we can answer you guys' questions if you're also upcoming musicians. We'd love to hear what you guys have to say and do our best to help you guys out. We answer our DMs, we answer our email. We really just want to make a difference in your guys' careers. Without further ado, the main section of the podcast. Craft. That's some pretty complicated stuff to play.
You don't have respective hands?
I do?
You absolute trash.
Having a good time.
Like, just enjoying myself.
He was like so
It's just so
supportive.
fun.
The song sucks.
Yep, that's true.
What's up, guys? This is Elijah from No Tomatoes. With me is my brother Titus and our guest, Maddy Mandich,
Hello.
or otherwise known as Mac. She is a pet store employee, animal enthusiast, theater student at SVSU, an Instagram model, I believe. Indie band enthusiast, I might say, an LGBTQ rights activist, animal rights activist, and an advocate for local businesses and local artists.
Yeah.
So our goal today is really just to give Mac a platform to talk about herself, talk about her goals, and what she wants to see happen in the world today.
Do we just generalize that as professional hipster?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Hello,
Yeah.
everyone. I'm a professional.
So
hipster.
that and also highlight the fact that she works at
Generic pet store.
So that's pretty cool. So I know you through my fiance, and I stalked you on social media to prepare. But I guess there's a couple questions I want to ask before we actually get started with the interview. All right, so I guess one kind of question that I never really asked is where were you born, first of all? Have you lived in Michigan all your life? And what is your family like?
I was born in Saginaw, but I've lived in the Thumb my whole life, out in a little small town called Gagetown. The biggest attraction around where I lived was a barn with 8 sides. People from different states come to see it. It's supposed to be like a historical thing, but I don't know. They block the road every year, and I can't get to school, so that was always annoying. Yeah, lived in Michigan my whole life. What was the other question?
And what's your family like?
They're endearing. They can be overbearing sometimes, but I love them.
Cool. All right, so I guess we can get into the main interview questions, and I don't know, those were also interview questions, so I don't know why I separately categorized them.
Just a little intro.
But, stuff happens. I guess another question that's also kind of in that same category is, why did people start calling you Mac?
So my middle name's Mackenzie. My sister always called me Mackers, and that kind of stuck, so I started introducing myself as Mac, because I kind of like it. There's usually a lot of Madisons or Maddies when I go places, so it's just easier to be called Mac. And it's not like, oh, you're Maddie M. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It gets problematic with super common names.
Yeah.
So how many animals do you have? What are their names? And we will be showing pictures and video to the video listeners. If you're not listening watching, if you're not watching the podcast and you're on Spotify, it might be beneficial for you to come over to the video part if you want to see cute animals.
Yeah.
So show us a couple videos and pictures and tell us their names and describe your animals.
So I have my dog Avery. He's 8 years old. He's a Maltese poodle mix. And then I also basically am a mother to my sister's dog Moxie. She's a miniature Australian Shepherd. She's very eccentric. Definitely has a personality. And then I have 5 frogs. I have Frog, Toad, Sticky, Debbie, and Penny. And then I've got a bunch of fish. They don't really have names because I have too many and it's too difficult to name a bunch of fish, especially because most of them are like schooling fish. So, I mean, how do I name individually each schooling fish?
Is
Good
Toad also a frog?
Yeah, Toad is a toad, but technically toads are under the frog
Right.
category.
So he is a toad.
Yeah, he is
He's
a toad.
not a toad that's or a frog that's named Toad.
Right, he is a
Okay,
toad.
he is a toad,
He's
okay.
actually a toad, but
Got it.
also technically a frog.
Got it.
Guys, we have a live studio audience.
Yeah.
There's like at least 3 people, possibly more,
All of
watching
3.
this.
What's I saying? Oh, I've got 2 tanks full of fish. One is in my frog tank, where I have a female betta and a school of white cloud minnows. And then I have a 40-gallon tank that has a betta sorority, and it has a school of neons. It has a bunch of guppies, and a bunch of red cherry shrimp, plecos, cory cats, tons of different little guys. Bunch of snails too. I love snails. They're
I
my
like
favorite.
snails. I wanted to have a giant snail at one point.
Oh,
Like
an
when I
African
was,
land
like-
snail?
Yeah.
They're illegal though.
Oh.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah.
That makes it cooler.
I mean, that's true. The secret ingredient is really crime.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So that kind of leads us into the next question is when Ty was talking about whether it's a toad or not, how many animal facts can you list off right now off the top of your head?
Bettas have a labyrinth organ, so it's basically like a lung. So they actually breathe air from the surface of the water. Same thing with a lot of snails, so like mystery snails. Also, mystery snails are not technically called mystery snails. They're a mixture of apple and Inca snails. Dogs have something called a quick, so you want to be careful not to cut their nail too short because you can cut open their quick. Lizards sometimes lick their eyes to clean them and to wet them down. Schooling fish need to be kept in at least groups of 5 or 6, but preferably 10 to 12 or more because they feel safe in numbers and they can get stressed out and kill each other. I can go on for days, so stop me when you need me
All
to.
right. Well, let's do at least like 3 more.
Okay. I know a lot of fish facts, so that's probably going to be where
Do
my
you know any like seal facts?
seal.
Yeah.
They can kill people if they want to.
Oh.
They,
Do they tend to do that?
Do they tend
I wouldn't say they tend to do that, but they can if they want to. I'm sure in the circus they've probably killed tons of people. I don't know that for a fact. Don't. Maybe fact check me on that one.
It's better not to. We just need some graphic artists to paint us or draw us some seal killing or seal killer seals.
Yeah, we'll get someone
people
on that
killing
right now.
seals. Yeah. Anyways, let's go with one more and then we'll move on to another question.
Okay. Bearded dragons will eat smaller bearded dragons. So you want to keep them by themselves or with one other bearded dragon of the same size of the opposite sex. They will murder each other. Little bearded dragons are little snacks.
So don't put a bearded dragon in with my ball python.
Oh no. I mean,
Which one would win?
Tomber probably would leave the bearded dragon alone, but I think that the bearded dragon might try to eat her if it was big enough.
Do we need to get Tomber out and just like put her on a microphone or something?
You're just gonna hear.
No, I'm just kidding. I'll
She's
show a
gonna talk
picture.
mad
Though.
smack
Everyone
and
on the video
snake.
gets to see a picture or a video of my snake now.
You will see a picture of me holding her.
Yeah. Also, my dog.
Mooka.
Yeah.
Love her.
Yeah. She's special.
She's a rascal.
Yeah. She's a mix of pit, lab, and like some sort of hound. So she's like scary to other people, but no one else. And there's a Amazon Alexa speaking in the background.
One time when I came over, Muka decided to chew my shoe while I was gone. So I lost a pair of shoes. We love her though. Alexa, shut up.
Excuse me.
She didn't find her own device. That's sad.
All right. So
Chatty
what are
today.
your views on testing cosmetics on animals, and should those be treated differently from lab testing?
Yeah, that's awful. There's no reason to test on animals. You can test on humans. Test on yourself.
Yeah.
Test on willing subjects. Don't test on animals. There's absolutely no reason to. They cannot consent to it.
True.
I don't know. There's people who like willingly go into drug tests. So why not willingly let people go into cosmetic tests? I don't know. I just don't. I don't
Right.
see the purpose of testing on little animals. That
Is that should be that be different from like lab testing if it's like, lab rats getting tested for like vaccines and things of that nature?
That's an interesting question. It's not really something that I've thought too heavily about in terms of like testing vaccines. If you're testing a vaccine for a rat, I can see why. But you're creating vaccinations for humans, right? So
Right.
as much as a rat and an animal can show you what might happen, it can never show you what will happen, because we process things differently than animals do. I mean, we are animals, but we process things differently than other animals do, other mammals do. So I don't really see the point. I don't know how you could look at a little rat and just inject it with something, not knowing what's going to happen to it. I don't know. I couldn't.
It's funny because on the topic of lab testing, the reason they used guinea pigs so much was because they tried like vitamin C testing on guinea pigs because they have the closest vitamin C to humans. But yeah, no, I mean, I agree with that. No animal's gonna have the exact same reaction
Right.
as a human would.
Also, guinea pigs really suck at keeping vitamin C in their system, so often you have to dose them with vitamin C.
Yeah, well, that's kind of why they did it, is because guinea pigs actually got scurvy, which is how they found out that humans get scurvy is from guinea pigs, because they're one of the only animals, along with us, that doesn't create natural vitamin C.
They're little sad boys.
Yeah.
That's something I had no clue about. So
Yeah. You have
congratulations on knowing things, Ty.
I just thought it was interesting. That's why I retained the information.
Cool. So a little bit lighter question. What is the best and worst things about working at pet store?
The best things is I get to just kind of hang out with animals. Like I literally get paid to pet cats. I used to open every weekend. And so one of my opening days I had to clean out like the cat habitats. And it was really great because I got to just like sit and pet cats and wipe down their cages, and they would like run in front of me and jump over me, and it was adorable. One of the worst things is like you can't always prevent an animal death, and it's really difficult because sometimes we get animals in that aren't doing too good. And it's always really difficult if communication isn't proper in any like pet store. Like you never know. We're not trained vets. We can do as much as we can, but we're not trained vets. So animal deaths happen all the time. Not all the time. That makes it sound like they happen frequently. I haven't seen an animal death in a while in our store, but I remember the first time I walked in to one of our hamsters who had passed away. And I cried, and I walked into my manager, and I talked to him about my frustrations, and he's like, I know it's really frustrating, I know it's really difficult, but these things happen. You gotta toughen up, and remember that you're doing this for them. You know, like, we did everything we could. It's always really hard. I've gone home crying before from a tough day.
Wow. Natalie's over there, my fiance. The live studio audience is just crying now. So I'm sorry for anyone watching that just started crying because of that story.
That was rough to hear.
Yeah, that's pretty tough.
Dead hamsters are very sad.
It toughened me up, but it still sucks every time.
So the next thing I was gonna ask is stories from working there, but now I'm afraid.
Oh, I've got a really good one. One of my favorites. I had a customer come in one time. It's like my favorite story to tell. I had a customer come in one time. Obviously, like I'm the fish person at work. I help people with fish. I'm the one who knows the most. So she walks in and she's not really sure why her fish died. And she tells me, well, first off, she hasn't cleaned her tank in 6 months, which is a huge no-no. You should be doing weekly or bi-weekly water changes, preferably weekly. Unless you have live plants. That's a different story. But she hadn't cleaned her tank out in 6 months. And I asked her what happened, and she says that she pulled the fish out of the water, held it in her hand, saw that it was flopping around, and threw it in the trash. Because she thought something was wrong with it. And I looked at her, and she looks at me, and she sees my face. And she goes, "You're not going to sell me another fish, are you?" And I go, "No." I'm not.
Oh, boy. Wow.
Stuff like that is also really difficult to deal with. I have to hold my tongue sometimes because, like, I still got to keep up this customer service. I'm happy to help you, but,
Right.
you know.
So what's like one of the stupidest questions other than that that you've had someone ask you?
People often ask me stuff like, if I can put two fish together that obviously can't go together, like a cichlid and a really tiny small fish. People often try to put bettas in really, really small tanks, mason jars, bowls, stuff like that. And I'm like, you can't do that. And they're like, why? Well, why do you sell them then? I'm like, we shouldn't. We do. Don't buy it though, because then we'll stop selling them.
Or just like, get a fish tank.
Yeah.
That's the other alternative here.
Right.
I always leave them. So our bowls are like $15. And then if you just go down a little bit further down the fish tank wall, you can get a 3.5 gallon with a filter for $20. It's always on sale.
There you go.
Yeah. So moral of the story, don't try to put fish in mason jars.
Right. I mean, you're kind of giving that fish a crappy life if you just...
Yeah.
Like, here's your fish bowl.
Well, the thing that they always tell me, too, is they're like, well, I had a betta fish live that way. Sorry, they always say beta fish. It's a betta fish. They're like, I had a beta fish that lived that way for so long. He lived for 6 months or he lived for a year. I'm like, they can live for tons of years. And he wasn't happy. So even though he lived, like, you could technically live in a closet for your whole life, but are you going to be happy living in a closet your whole life? You're going to be happy pooping in that closet and then having to sit there with it just rotting in the closet with you? I know that's gross and morbid, but it's true. That's what happens. They have to sit there, and not only do they have to sit there with it rotting, but they also have to breathe it in. Because it just rots in the water that they're sitting in.
What a way to put that.
Clean your fish tank.
Wow.
It's gross.
Yeah.
Clean your toilet bowl. It's gross.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I need to do that more often. A little bit moving away from pet store. What kind of sparked your interest in the arts, and what keeps you coming back for more?
I've always loved the arts. I think one thing that keeps me coming back for more is it's one of the few things that really keeps me happy and motivated. I like really creating things. I don't know. It's always nice to see something that I put so much work into, see how it affects people, because nothing affects people like art does. Absolutely nothing. Nothing affects people like music and art. You can create diagrams and statistics and they'll be really beneficial, and you can do math and I mean, you can be a doctor and that's really awesome, but nothing affects people emotionally like art does. Nothing latches onto you. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've just sat and listened to a piece of music or sat and looked at a piece of art and, I don't know, just like envelop it around me. It's wonderful. And I think that's something that art and art alone has, specifically theater, because like with theater, it's live always. There's no other option. You can have a movie, but that's not theater. Theater is always live. It is always changing, and it is never the same. And you can only see it once. And that's what is so special about it. Because you sit there watching, knowing no one is ever going to see this show the way you are. No one. Because no one is going to be in your seat at that time seeing this specific show, the way that the actors acted and all the little things that they messed up on. No one. It doesn't matter if it's recorded even, because no one's going to experience the same way that you did sitting in that theater. And that's what is so special about theater. And that is what's so special about art in general.
Yeah, that's one thing we were talking about in the last podcast we recorded was how different live shows when you play music are from recording in the studio.
Yeah.
Even this podcast right now, we've got 3 people in the room, and it's changing the dynamic of what we're doing.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, having
Makes
live shows, it's been really tough with COVID, not having that kind of medium to go to. Yeah. Some of us feel it more than others, but yeah, it's been really tough. And I hope that the world becomes not so crazy in the near future, so we can get that back.
Healthy.
Yeah.
Don't die.
Yeah, but don't die.
Don't die.
That's
friends.
important. Wear masks.
You're welcome.
If you can.
Those are my 2 cents.
Okay. So what's I know you like indie bands, so what's one of your favorite indie bands?
Superhumanoids. They aren't really known. They're a band in LA. They stopped being a band in 2015, but check them out. Listen to all of Exhibitionists. Fun fact, one of their songs on there, the music video. Now, it's never been explicitly stated that this is what this music video is about. So Sarah Chernoff, if you're watching this, first off, hi. Second off, I really love your work. Third, I understand that this is probably not what the song is about, but this is what the song means to me, and that's what makes it so special. Anyway, there's a song called So Strange. And in the music video, this man hires a prostitute because his wife is paralyzed. And she's laying in bed next to him. And he's looking her in the eyes while fucking a prostitute. And he's saying to her, please come back to me. And that shit is fucking insane. Sorry, I don't know if I can swear on this, but that shit is insane.
That's fine. We'll have the little E icon on Spotify.
Oh my god.
Wow.
I'm continually making Natalie cry.
What do you listen to?
Superhumanoids.
So that's going to be our recommendation at the end of the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, our recommendation is buy a prostitute if your wife is paralyzed.
Not exactly.
So Strange by Superhumanoids from Exhibitionists. My favorite song on that album is See It All, though. That's a really good song. I'm going to get song lyrics tattooed from that song.
Sweet. All right. So, what is the best compliment you have ever received?
Oh my gosh, that's... Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't know right off the top of my head.
That's okay. We have time.
I really liked what Natalie sent me the other day. Wait, hang on. I've been showing multiple people those messages because I think they're adorable. Natalie messaged me and wanted me to just bring her some soda because she needed caffeine. And so here's the conversation. I will read it. She says, hey, what are you doing, LMAO, question mark, question mark. I said, at Moira, LOL, why, question mark. She said, are you coming back in this direction, ... question mark, question mark, question mark. I said, at some point, we were considering going to Live Oak, which is a coffee shop around here. She said, LMAO, I'm at dance and I'm crashing and I can't leave my 10-year-old to get pop. LMAO. I said, oh, yeah, I'll bring you something. She said, oh my God, you're amazing. I love you and you are beautiful. I said, Mountain Dew. She said, yes, please. You're amazing. 10 out of 10.
I thought you were gonna read the Asian woman one.
Well, that was a good one, too.
There were a lot of LMAOs in there.
I love Natalie's compliments.
Yeah. Pretty solid.
All right, so we're back into the animal kingdom. What do you think about SeaWorld?
Oh no. Oh no.
Next question. I hate SeaWorld. I despise them. Do some research yourself. I will tell you now, there is no reason for big ocean creatures to be in such a small tank. But do some research on SeaWorld's practices. They're disgusting. Stop going to SeaWorld. Fuck SeaWorld.
Instead of going to SeaWorld, you should see the world.
Oh, I love that. Also, just go to the ocean. I
Yeah,
don't know. If
just
you have enough
go-
money to go to SeaWorld, go on a cruise.
Yeah.
Go to the ocean.
Right.
Just watch some whales or something.
Just,
I
yeah,
don't know.
literally go whale watching.
Yeah,
Like, that's just a
exactly.
thing that you can do for the day. Take a
Right.
day trip whale watching. Don't go to SeaWorld. See them in their natural environment. It is crazy insane. It is so beautiful. Anyway.
So is SeaWorld different in their practices than just regular national zoos?
Yeah. SeaWorld has gotten a lot of lawsuits against them. Let me...
We're gonna pull up some facts.
I am...
We're educating y'all. It's the first time I said y'all in a year.
So SeaWorld
Yesn't.
had to pay to pay, as of February 11th, 2020, SeaWorld to pay $65 million settlement to investors over impact of Blackfish, which was a documentary. The theme park was accused of lying to investors about the impact the film had on its finances. This is by Sophie Lewis from CBS News. Thank you, Sophie. Thank you for speaking out against SeaWorld. The proposed settlement still needs to be approved in court, but it requires SeaWorld to pay $65 million for alleged violations of the Securities Exchange Act of 1934, along with the cost of administration and legal fees and expenses. Basically, SeaWorld sucks. So it just keeps animals in captivity for no reason. I'm not a big fan of zoos either, to be honest and to be fair. Yes.
But
Yes.
Natalie has a question.
I have a question. So, what about aquariums and aquatic research facilities?
So a lot of aquatic research facilities actually have huge tanks for their creatures and take really good care of their creatures. The nice thing about fish is they're really difficult to care for, especially the ones that they're going to want to research. So you have to have them in very specific environments. Specific amount of saline. You have to keep the water really clean. They have to have a specific amount of space. They have to be with specific creatures. So the nice thing about fish is you don't have a big window or you will kill your fish. But with a lot of land creatures or air-breathing creatures, so like orca whales, it's less easy to kill them. And a lot of places give them the bare minimum, or the bare minimum that the public will let them, So the nice thing about aquariums is often they're actually really good at caring for their fish. Now, of course, there are going to be exceptions, but that's also why I started getting into fish keeping, because fish keeping is all about creating an ecosystem and creating the best environment for the creatures that you're taking care of. And that's something that I'm really passionate about, is creating ecosystems.
so we can say that what SeaWorld does is essentially taking a penguin and sticking it in your backyard and saying survive.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Not even your backyard. It's smaller than that. It's like sticking a penguin in a kiddie pool.
So you're sticking a penguin in your refrigerator saying, hey, it's going to be cold, so you'll survive, right?
It's the middle of summer, and you've got a kiddie pool in your backyard, and you took all the ice out of your freezer and just let it float in the kiddie pool, and you stuck a penguin in it, and you're like, have fun, buddy.
Oh boy.
Bye.
So that's SeaWorld for
That's my
most
opinion
fish.
on SeaWorld.
Yeah.
So instead of talking about SeaWorld now, I want to talk about the actual sea. So a lot of people on Facebook, I've seen these posts, with the trash, with like animals stuck in the, pop holder things and all this stuff. And a lot of people are like, oh, that's fake or it doesn't really matter.
Are people saying it's fake?
Yeah, people are saying it's fake. So
Yeah, Nemo
my
did it one
question,
time,
let me
it's
read
fake.
it verbatim so I don't say the wrong thing. So the question in full is, many people claim that ocean pollution is exaggerated on social media, not necessarily fake, but at least exaggerated. Do you think that this has any truth to it? And if not, are we simply just desensitized to the fact that it's happening?
Yeah, you're absolutely desensitized to the fact that it's happening. I mean, like, it is not overblown on social media. In fact, in my opinion, it's not talked about enough. It's not even just that it's not talked about enough. It's that people talk about it and then they do nothing past that. They don't donate. They don't go and clean up the environment around them and don't try and partake in cleaning up the ocean.
Right. So, yeah, that's the next thing I was going to kind of ask is, like, what can we do as individuals to stop it? And can we actually make a difference compared to, like, because I was doing a little bit of research. Some people say that, like, the government and big companies are the only reason that we're having pollution. And other people say, well, we can actually make a difference as individuals. So what do you think?
It's mostly big companies. So think about it as like a butterfly effect. We start pushing bigger companies. We start doing things on our level. I mean, like, if you try to tell people, well, don't do that because one person isn't going to change anything. I can change things by me not only using less single-use plastics and recycling and taking care of the environment around me, picking things up. Not only am I doing that, but I'm pushing my friends to do that too. I'm spreading awareness, and those people start doing those things, and it's a chain reaction. So it's not just one person that's deciding to suddenly care about the environment. It's a chain reaction, and eventually I really hope that we get to a point where a lot of people really care, and there's more people out there that care than don't. In terms of bigger companies, that's something that I don't know if on an individual level we can really change. That's something that those companies have to. We have to push them, though. Boycotting companies is definitely a start. Telling companies that we're not going to stand for it, we're not going to pay for your product, you're going to lose tons of business, you're going to lose tons of money. That's what's going to hit them. That's what's going to hurt them. Because companies don't care about people, they care about money.
Yeah. We're getting
Hello.
snaps from the audience. So, nice. Anyways, yeah, that's a good take on that. I agree. All right, so the question is, if there was one message that you could tell the entire world, like literally there was a giant screen of your face in the sky and everyone could hear you, but only for like one sentence or one message, what would you say?
Quick question before we continue. Are they going to listen to me, or are they just going to hear what I say and move on?
They're going to hear what you have to say, but they have the ability to choose not to listen. Okay. And like do what you say. Okay.
Animals' lives matter as much as people, and you have no right to say otherwise. Holla.
Mic drop.
I was just going to say fuck SeaWorld, but...
Yeah, that too. Fuck SeaWorld.
That's like the whisper Animals' lives matter. Fuck SeaWorld.
I'm just like
You
right after.
just like add that one extra little thing. All right, so our quote of the day from Mac is, we can do the recommendation first. The recommendation was Superhumanoids.
Yeah.
The band. I don't remember the specific song.
So Strange by Superhumanoids.
So go find them. I will definitely be listening to that song now because it sounds like something that I would listen to.
Sounds eccentric.
It is. I can play a little bit. I know we probably can't have it on the podcast because copyright, but I can play a little bit for you guys. Are we ready for my quote? Make sure to remember, every person and place has a right to exist. It's true for you too. The entire world, as a whole, is your home. That is by Ginko from Mushishi. It is a great anime. You should definitely watch it.
I like anime.
There you go.
It's a really relaxing anime.
It reminds me of the Dr. Seuss, every person's a person, no matter how small.
Yeah.
One
That's what it
fish,
reminds
two
me of.
fish, red fish, blue fish.
This was my senior quote.
I have a brain. All right.
Anime is
Every
very good.
person is
Watch
a person,
anime.
no matter how small.
Well, thank you, Mac, for coming and talking about things with us.
Thanks for
and
having me.
we will move the podcast into the debrief section with just Ty and I. And yeah, so
Appreciate having you.
Yeah.
Goodbye, friends.
all right. Thanks, everybody, for listening to the podcast. We really appreciate you. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please email us at notomatosband@gmail.com or DM us on our Instagram at notomatoes101. Have a great day, guys.
See you guys.
Only you now.